It's the opening day of NCAA women's lacrosse. Some teams did open yesterday, but today we've got one of the marquee matchups in the land. The third-ranked North Carolina Tar Heels in Harrisonburg once again to battle the sixth-ranked Dukes of James Madison. North Carolina, 3 national titles to its credit. For the Dukes, well, they won it back here in 2018, and that was one of those years, like many here recently, where the Dukes and the Tar Heels open up the year. I'm Kurt Dudley, Nora White, Hall of Fame member of the JMU Athletics program, and we also have CeCe Evans on the sideline for us today. First of all, Nora, great to see you here. We're excited for this contest. This has become basically an annual tradition, be it in Chapel Hill or be it here in Harrisonburg.
Yes, it has. I feel like I'm in pregame up here with some butterflies jumping around. This is so much to be seen out of these two players. And like you said, Kurt, 10th time that they have met in the first game of the season. This has kind of become an anniversary. And we'll talk a little bit more as we get going with the show about what each coach had to say about opening up with one another.
Yeah, 2 very legendary coaches, Hall of Fame coaches in their own right. Jenny Levy, 29th year there with the Tar Heels in North Carolina. Unbelievably, she started the program. And former Duke herself, Kelly Clays, leading this program again. Let's take a look at some of our featured players, and we're going to expect a little bit of defense here today from North Carolina. Emily Knowles, one of the top defenders in the land.
Yeah, Coach Levy couldn't say enough about, even though she's a preseason first-team All-American, she still feels like she flies under the radar in terms of the value that she brings to this Tar Heel team.
And she may get the assignment today of one of the top scorers in the country. All kinds of records last year offensively for Isabella Peterson.
Yeah, with one of their star All-Americans out for the season with an ACL, it looks like Knowles will have that responsibility today, and UNC is not known for sliding. Levy talked a little bit about how they're going to handle Peterson, but they will look at that matchup one-on-one and slide from there.
Well, Peterson, we'll see her in the draw circle as well as we get underway here, the 2024 season for both North Carolina and James Madison begins under nice temperatures. It's in the low 60s this afternoon, but it is a little drizzle here and there. The fans came prepared, though, and we're ready for the opening draw here for this campaign. Dukes in the white. That's Epke on the draw for James Madison. And in the circle was Olivia Dirks for the Tar Heels. And it is Epke that comes up with the first draw of the season. Now, the last time the Dukes beat North Carolina was here in that 2018 season during the regular season. Then JMU defeated North Carolina in the semifinals on the way to beating Boston College in the championship up at Stony Brook in 2018. But North Carolina has won a title since that time. On the move here is Marchetti for James Madison. Top of the circle, and there's a couple of very interesting rule changes this year. We're going to get to that pretty quickly here for you so that you can understand some of the things that may happen. And here's Casey Knobloch back in the lineup the Dukes missed all of last year. First shot for Peterson is in the net, and the Dukes take the early lead. 51 seconds in. Knobloch gets in on the assist.
And I don't know if I was Casey's mom or mom's down there may even have tears in her eyes after all that she's gone through to come back to this. We see Knobloch at X, finding Peterson with a great roll-in finish on that. That's got to be a great way for Knobloch to start off her game after being out for a year, just breaking the ice and getting a little bit of the nerves out.
Well, Isabella Peterson, beg your pardon, with the score there, the senior last year led the Dukes in goals, and she is playing in her 64th game as a James Madison Duke. So getting the draw control, obviously one of the key concerns. That was one of the things that Coach Levy told us in our interview with her this week, that you got to control it first of all, and that seems pretty simplistic, but that indeed is the case. So here's Epke again in the circle for James Madison and Olivia Dirks. Dirks, a transfer from Penn State. So 1-0 James Madison as they square it here shoulder to shoulder, face to face. And rolling out to the far side and scooping it up this time is Alyssa Long, who is a senior midfielder from Springfield, Pennsylvania. So North Carolina will go on the attack for the first time today. Out of the top here is Kylie Modis. Modis number 3. And keep a close eye on particularly Caitlin Wurzberger. 5'4", but she can scurry about, little dynamo that can give you a lot of trouble. Back behind the line it goes. Over to Godine. And one of the big things for James Madison, the biggest change, is defensively. And there's a quick shot. That's going to roll out of bounds. And North Carolina will maintain the possession. Würzburger will bring it up. Now to Dirks. Dirks takes the shot. It is high. And again, Carolina will maintain possession with 38 on the shot clock. Working around the crease. I think that was intended to be a tough angled shot. It's going to roll out of bounds, and James Madison will get the possession on a turnover. Well, I'd probably just call it a shot.
Yeah, on the deflection there. But you talked about, Kurt, talking to Coach Linville, who, by the way, Assistant Coach of the Year, received recognition for that. But talk to her a little bit about how do you replace Rachel Mady, and then you go out and you have Carolyn Thistlethwaite go out with a year-ending injury in the fall. And there's just a lot to replace. But what she was reminded of, yes, she's been doing a lot of work there with a younger squad, and especially with that zone defense they play and the amount of communication it takes. But she said, our All-Americans didn't become they weren't All-Americans when they were freshmen and sophomores, so we're learning and growing.
And a shot scored. Epke with her first goal of the season for James Madison. The Dukes out to a 2-0 lead.
Maddie Epke had an incredible season, continued to improve herself in the U.S. lacrosse program, and the coaches just speak really highly of the acceleration that she's been making and the continued leadership that she will take here.
17 goals and 28 assists last year, this sophomore from Guilford, Connecticut.
And one of the changes last season, we saw Epke come from X an awful lot from behind the goal. The coaching staff talked about how X was changing with Casey Knobloch coming back and some others. And you see Epke there receiving the ball at the corner of the 8, at the top of the 8-meter, and attacking and scoring from there. So JMU likes that new look, and that proves to be rewarded there for them.
So the Dukes, it's 1-1 as far as draw controls are concerned. But North Carolina missing a shot, got a couple of shots off on its first possession. And here's one out of the circle, controlled. This time in the draw was Bailey Horn. And North Carolina will get it. Now, one of the big rules is the contact, the fouls in the midfield. It will result in a green card and a 1-minute penalty, which for the first 3 are releasable should the opposition score. Beyond the 3, you have to serve your whole time. So that's one thing we'll keep an eye on. They were concerned about safety and what have you. And then the other aspect is flopping, the embellishment. And Nora, you said you heard a little bit about William and Mary and George Mason's game yesterday, and there was a little bit of flopping going on in that one, I understand.
Yeah, that was George Mason is really with emerging and lots of improvement from last year, but there were many green cards, a couple yellow cards there that were crucial. That was a double overtime win for George Mason.
As the Dukes with the turnover, creating the turnover and getting the ground ball is Alex Persinio, one of the twin sets for James Madison, but back it goes to North Carolina.
Yeah, Piercino caused turnover and then caused turnover back again. So Levy talked a lot about the importance of the Tar Heels' time of possession, that they really want to minimize unforced errors and get as much time of possession as they can, because they still feel like their attacking players are working out the kinks, as we saw in the first possession with kind of 2 misses.
A ground ball ends up in possession of Peterson in the midfield, as I think that ball was deflected off the top of the post. There goes Epke on the run. She takes it into the 8, takes the shot. She's 2 for 2, and the Dukes have a 3-0 lead.
Once that engine gets going, Epke doesn't tend to slow down very often. You saw her speed there on a really nice transition by the Dukes and Peterson.
It just came out, so a couple of errors, and a couple of them really unforced by Carolina early. Beg your pardon. And James Madison capitalizing on those. Marchetti will come out of the lineup for the Dukes.
So far, we haven't seen too much of that green card activity between the lines in that central 30 area. But as we were saying, yeah, from what I understood yesterday in that Mason Tribe matchup, there was a good bit of kind of, I guess, flopping going on. I'm super used to that as a soccer term.
Yes.
And that is becoming a household word in the lacrosse in the lacrosse environment now. So we'll see how that plays out. But so far, nothing.
You know, it's interesting. Embellishment has been a rule for a long time in the NHL. So on the ice, it has gone. Then it went to the court of basketball. Now it's in lacrosse. Do you think it'll ever make it to soccer?
I mean, I think it originated in soccer.
Well, no, I mean in terms of calling it.
Oh, yeah. No.
It.
There absolutely can be cards issued for what you see in soccer. You know, football everywhere else in the world is that a lot of verbal warnings. You know, and both coaches talked about this. How the refs, they have a lot of interpretation to do, and they've got to really catch up with the way that the rules are changing. In the soccer world, you'll see refs warn players about embellishment and then yellow cards handed out.
So a foul on James Madison on the draw control. This is a Carolina team that returns 8 All-Americans. And you say that and you think, wow, a lot of individual skill sets, and certainly we know that about North Carolina. I mean, it wouldn't be North Carolina without that, but Coach Levy really wants to emphasize the fact that the sum of the parts is what's going to get Carolina to where it wants to go. Both these programs made it all the way to the quarterfinals of the NCAA tournament last year. JMU defeated by Syracuse. And there's a shot, and it ricochets to the far side. By the way, between the pipes today for James Madison, getting her start is Caitlin Bowden, her first as a Duke.
And she is fired up, Kurt, as she should be. Both she and her defense have been doing a fantastic job against these Tar Heels to start. You know, and Coach Levy described, you know, last year she felt good about the season. She felt that she had a really, really, really young team and that they grew and matured as the season went on. And, you know, even this year I asked her about, you know, the 3 key players that she's got out due to injuries, Walker Welsh, Kaylee Harden, and Chloe Humphrey. Yet you've still got 3 All-Americans on the roster after that is already done. Obviously, without Emily Knowles being that key first team, and Riley Casey and Caitlin Wurzberger, as you mentioned on attack, honorable mention, preseason All-Americans.
By the way, Alicia Nicholas is in the goal for the Tar Heels. Working off the back, here's Knobloch. Flips it on out. Got Peterson flanked on the right side. Coming to the near side now, it goes to Josie Pell. Pell working her way through. Here comes Epke again. Good defense to keep her from getting inside the 8. Here's Peterson working from the top. Spins. They do trade her off for a split second there, making it a little difficult. Shot clock down to 21. Derry with it now, the product of Roanoke, Virginia.
And you did see the slide come from Peichel there to create the double team for Isabel Peterson, too. But Traggio did a nice job man-to-man there.
Getting down to 2 seconds. Dukes will not get off the shot. Yes, they do. My, oh, my. There was not but a half second left, and it is no. They say the shot clock had expired. So it goes back to the Carolina Tar Heels. Peterson's goal nullified as the Dukes used all 90 seconds in the possession. This is one of a couple really big marquee matchups today across the country. At 1 o'clock Eastern time, number 1 Northwestern hosts number 5 Syracuse. Number 2 BC, Boston College beat number 20 UMass last night. No problem. 20-9 was that final. So there were a few games played on Friday. We got a whistle.
And second year is...
So watch it, behind. You see the shot clock. Yeah, it expired just as the ball was just getting to her cross as the shot clock was showing 0.
What an incredible shot by our cameraman. We didn't even need VAR. The shot clock was right there in the back of the screen. Thanks, guys.
Worked perfectly. Been a clean game thus far. Under 8 minutes to go. Here's the shot, and the Tar Heels are on the board as lofting it in. Ava Ingrilli, a freshman from Wantagh, New York. Your neck of the woods up in that area, is it not?
That is. Tar Heels have quite a few Long Islanders and New Yorkers on their roster.
So the Dukes jump out to a 3-0 lead, but the Tar Heels get their first goal of the afternoon, and it comes from a rookie. Don't go away. We've got a lot more women's lacrosse action. It's the ACC against the AAC this afternoon from Harrisonburg. Back in a couple of moments.
find my words a little bit there. I got marbles in my...
With our products, services, and operations. Today, we empower you to choose how to reduce your own carbon footprint. With an electrified, diversified lineup of hybrids, plug-in hybrids, and battery EVs. Let's drive toward a carbon-neutral future together. Toyota, let's go places.
Why is Commonwealth One the one for you?
Because it meant the one with heated seats and a hybrid engine.
Because our daughter's got only 3 credits to go before graduation.
Because it means one less stop before heading home.
For over 75 years, Commonwealth One has been the one, committed to helping our members and our communities thrive. So whether you're a longtime resident or just new to our community, come home to the best banking experience you've ever known.
Commonwealth One, for you, for life.
Our score, a first media timeout of this 2024 season. The Dukes and the Tar Heels, number 6 against number 3. And these teams aren't afraid to play highly ranked programs. And let's welcome in our third member of our broadcast team today, Cece Evans. Good afternoon, Cece.
Good afternoon, Kurt. On this date, February 10th in 2018, James Madison beat North Carolina in the start of a magical season, which ended in the Dukes' first program national championship. JMU beat North Carolina twice that season, first here at the season home opener and later in the semifinals of the NCAA tournament. UNC has since won 6 straight games against James Madison. When we caught up to Shelly Clays, we asked her about JMU's competitive schedule and playing Jenny Levy's North Carolina team. A lot of programs are afraid or intimidated to schedule hard, she said. They want to use that first game or those early season games to build confidence. And if competitiveness is what you're looking for, what a better way to build confidence that you can be competitive on game day than putting yourself up against the best in the country.
Yeah, no doubt about it, and I think it bodes well for both of these programs, regardless of the outcome. They learn a lot about their early season, of course, and they make adjustments from there. And usually they roll on to have very good years.
And positioning yourself, you know, when I coached and did a little bit of coaching with JMU in the Kelly Young era, you know, we talked about you want your out of, even though the AAC is competitive in its own right, your out of conference schedule really helps position yourself for how you get seeded in the postseason. And that's really important. You don't want to have to face a top seed early on. So by playing and having a chance to beat some of these top ranked teams, you position yourself higher, you know, as you head to the postseason.
Well, North Carolina losing out on an opportunity as the Dukes will come away with it. Epke has it as she takes the pass ahead from Ava Beckley, freshman we'll hear a lot about at James Madison.
Yeah, Beckley, Coach Linville really couldn't say enough about Beckley. Is really the freshman most on the scene. Well, the only freshman starting for the Dukes today, and how well she has positioned herself in the offseason preparing.
And another goal for the Dukes as they lead it 4-1.
Taylor Marchetti with the switch right to left. Looking like she's going to go play that ball to X, and really took advantage of Felter being a little bit off-footed there defensively to put that ball in the back of the net. Second-year offensive leader, Coach Colleen Shearer, has to be pretty pleased with the opportunities that the Dukes are both creating and converting on offense so far, Kurt.
Yeah, Marchetti with her 51st start here this afternoon fooled me. I thought she was going to X as well, and then boom, next thing I know, she had shot the ball. Marchetti coming into this season with 79 career goals. And back into the draw circle, James Madison leading it 4-1. Second 3-goal advantage for James Madison. And Epke back in the circle. It looks like they've gone back to Olivia Dirks in the draw for the Tar Heels.
We know in this game, Kurt, possessions are so important. Coach Levy just said again and again, you know, we need to get a lot of possessions.
Get a foul on JMU.
Yeah, here they are, last 3 that they've won, and we know that JMU has another option at the draw, but so far, since the opening draw that Epke won, the Tar Heels have been taking advantage of their opportunities.
So at the top of the circle, working with it is Modis. They work it to the left side, and that is Dirks, who was in the circle there for that draw control. 60 on the shot clock, coming from behind the line. Here's the shot and a save for Bowden.
That was a really nice feed to Modis. Maybe needs to change her level there a little bit, but Bowden is just building confidence at each possession down the field for in goal for the Dukes.
Duke's going to work on trying to get the clear here. Garcino bounce pass to the feet of Derry, but she scrums it forward, and a foul is called against North Carolina. That's just a quick transition, as back in the lineup is Gabby Hall.
And you see that Coach Levy mentioned, you know, the Tar Heels don't do a ton of rides, or, you know, presses as we call in soccer, but there you saw them trying to trap and ride JMU, and, you know, almost created a cause turnover there.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how rides will occur in the midfield, giving the green cards. Does that change? And, you know, the one thing too that was discussed with both coaches is that get used to playing a man up or a man down, and it can make a dramatic change into what your plan was going into a particular possession or through a course of the game.
Exactly, like you said, Kurt, both coaches spoke very deliberately about the situational play that they have had to add consistently into their practice schedule, so that their team is not caught off guard when playing a man up or a man down, or 2 players up or 2 players down.
Knobloch up to the top of the circle. She connects there with Brianna Manella. As Duke's getting some new faces into the lineup. Back out Epke. Epke going one-on-one. In the 8, takes the shot. And it's deflected just over to the left by Nicholas.
And Dirk's doing a nice job there in her 1v1 defending, you know, just an asset on both sides of the field.
Nicholas out of Ithaca, New York. Goal against average in her career, 8.35, and a save percentage of 47%. Approaching the 3.5-minute mark here in the opening quarter. Rain seems to have stopped. Breezes have picked up just a little bit. That'll dry things off somewhat. Here's Riley Casey, number 7, with a quick possession for Carolina. Another
What a
feed
fantastic slide.
Getting to the left side. Here's a low shot, and that is a goal for North Carolina as it squeaks right past Bowden, who went down to try to deflect it. Nice looking shot there, changing the angle, going down low.
That was, just as you talked about the rain slowing down, looked like Bodine slipped there a little bit on that shot, but well converted by the Tar Heels.
So Caitlin Wurzberger gets her first goal of the season. That 1 point gets her a little closer to moving up to 12th all time on the North Carolina point chart. 5'4" senior from Delray Beach, Florida.
One of the Tar Heels' 4 captains still out there. Down, you'll see Brooklyn Walker-Welsh coaching a little bit from the sideline, which was a big loss for them this fall. Levy talked about that in December. Went out with a season-ending injury, but as we will see, Carolyn Thistlethwaite coaching from the sidelines. Walker-Welsh will be doing some coaching from the sidelines, trying to contribute, but Wurzberger, again, a captain, converting there for her team.
Yeah, and we'll see Thistlethwaite. She kind of takes the role that Knobloch had last year for James Madison. Again, a player who's injured kind of serves as another coach on the sideline. And another draw control one, Emily Knowles, comes out of the pack. She is a graduate student now, is Knowles. As she is playing in her 72nd game. All of those starts for the Tar Heels. North Carolina in its 29th season of playing the sport, and it is quite remarkable that it was Levy that started the program, and she was laughed at by her peers when she said at a young age, I'm going to apply for that job, and she got it, and quite a number of applicants. But a number of programs across the country started to crank it up late 80s, early 90s. And a turnover for North Carolina. Scooped up for the Dukes. It's Courtney Quirk, that is, beg your pardon. Peterson flips it over. Epke couldn't get the shot off. Flips it back. This is Knobloch. To the circle, and the shot taken by Caitlin Morgan. Ground ball as coming out of the crease is Nicholas to recover it. Under 2 minutes to go in the opening stanza. JMU has led twice by a 3-goal margin. Right now it's only a couple, and Carolina has designs of making it a 1-goal game.
And they are starting to win the time of possession game here with the draws that they have won back to back to back, and the turnovers that they are now starting to cause on the defensive end.
Working behind the crease is Godine. Double team there. Murray Durkin, another one of those great defensive players, no longer with the JMU program. You put Durkin and Mady back there, that was a double-headed monster defensively for JMU.
Absolutely. They were both just absolute beasts on defense for the Dukes. And their parents, I don't know if their parents are down here, if they're going to be coming anymore, but their parents are missed in the way of culture and spirit for the team as well. So Durkin family, we miss you, and know your presence will be felt. But
I think Murray is just traveling the world. I see Facebook posts of just kind of showing up in some very exotic places, you might say. And not a surprise. She told me that. I said, what are you going to do after school? I'm going to travel the world. I said, okay. I don't doubt that at all. There you see Lizzie Piracino. Lizzie and Alex, twin sets for the Dukes, along with Geneva and Olivia Mattis. So have the Peterson sisters as well. And that's the timeout is quickly called here with 57 seconds to go. So we'll keep it right here.
Tar Heels are starting to settle in. Look like they shook out a little bit of either traveling legs or opening season nerves and are really getting into finding their groove here a bit.
And for James Madison to get out to the quick start certainly is a good thing, but you also know this can be just like basketball, a game of runs.
It is.
And no lead is too safe. Last year, North Carolina defeated the Dukes in Chapel Hill 14-9. And this is the 17th all-time meeting. The Tar Heels do lead the series 12-4. And 2 of those 4 losses took place here in Harrisonburg. First one was in 2000, and then the 2018 win, which was an overtime victory at that, with Kristen Gaudian scoring the game-winning goal. Interesting for the North Carolina Tar Heels as well. Of course, on the coaching staff of Jenny Levy is Mary McCool, who was the draw specialist that year.
Yeah, Marie McCool was one of them, was I think the most highly recruited player coming out of high school during her time, had an incredible career with the Tar Heels as a player, and I think that question was asked by Cece during that interview. How is it having her on the sidelines now, a player that you've known, for so long? And, Levy, it's just, as a coach, and I know this for myself, when your former players come on the sideline and coach with you, there's just such a comfort because they know you, they know your system, they know what you expect, they know maybe where your shortcomings are, where they can kind of step up. So it's great to see McCool on the sidelines with the Tar Heels.
Well, and she countered a lot of times Haley Warden at that time, and Haley spent a couple of years on the sidelines as an assistant coach for Coach Clays as well. But this, for James Madison, is a very, very experienced coaching staff with Shelley Clays, Cateri Linville, who you've mentioned, and Colleen Shearer, who is the offensive mastermind right now for the JMU program. That's a lot of experience among those 3.
All 3 could be head coaches easily.
And all 3 have been.
In their own right. That's right. Yeah, that's exactly right. Good point. And I think last year, one of the things when I spoke with Coach Clays and Coach Linville about, hey, how does it feel this year? Last year you had these really strong, 3 strong personalities, and they said the joy of this year being the second year, the players understand a much greater understanding of what each coach expects, what their personalities are, and they've been able to really dive deeper into details now that they're on the offense for the second year, And so they said it's just been a real joy to not be doing it for the first time together.
Well, Epke's pass was swatted down. That kind of foils the timeout taken by James Madison, a lost opportunity for the Dukes. And Carolina's got less than 30 seconds to get it down the field as Knowles will give it up. Dukes try to spread them out just a little bit just to make it a little more difficult to get in, but they've got enough time to get off one offensive play, maybe two. Looks like going to settle in on one possibility here.
Looking for the Tar Heels. We're looking for the two-man game, weak side cut.
And they do score it. And coming in with the bounce shot is Ingrilli once again. So the freshman showing her poise as she scores her second goal for the Tar Heels.
Looked a bit like the Tar Heels were the one that had a play drawn up in that timeout because that was extremely well executed. And I don't know if we're going to get a chance to roll this back here, but really isolated the two-man game. Yeah, you can see isolated the two-man game, and then they go with the backside feed to a really nice finish there.
So Angrilli, a 5'5" freshman, as I mentioned earlier, getting in on the action here, invited to the 2024 U.S. Women's Under-20 National Team tryouts last July.
Now we've got Bailey Horn stepping in against Maddie Epke. We'll see how this goes. Well, I don't think anyone's going to get too much of anything here with 1.3 seconds left in the first period.
Yeah, this is one where you maybe not necessarily show your hand, you know, who you draw with. Of course, Epke's been in there quite a bit. So the end of the first quarter, with North Carolina scoring the final goal in the period, and have been chasing the Dukes since 51 seconds in as Jamie built a 3-0 and then a 4-1 lead, but the Tar Heels have scored the last couple. And it's just a one-goal game after one here in Harrisonburg. Back in a moment for more women's lacrosse on ESPN+.
Live sports.
Not everyone's training for a gold medal. Not everyone wants to go hard or go home. Whatever you're starting, run your own race. Let's go! Because doing something is everything.
Get started with a 30-day home trial today at onepeloton.com. Terms apply.
Here at Papa John's, we know our stuff.
So try our garlic epic stuffed crust pizza. Made with our iconic garlic sauce flavor, mixed with cheese and hand stuffed into that Papa John's original dough. No one stuffs a crust like Papa John's.
Uh-oh. It's the Southeast Mini Golf Mixer Champs.
Do anything cool this weekend?
Mark?
Mark?
I just stayed in.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Cleveland or South Beach. Be the real you.
Top leagues and tournaments. Best stories in sports. On ESPN+.
This is a North Carolina team only 1 year removed from going 22-0 en route to a national championship in 2022. The Tar Heels come into the season ranked 3rd nationally in the preseason poll. They are one of 5 ACC schools ranked in the top 25 and one of 3 schools ranked in the top 5. Their schedule features 9 current nationally ranked teams. We asked Jenny Levy about her strength of a schedule. She said that she makes it a point to ensure even her non-conference games are a battle. That includes starting their schedule against James Madison for the 9th time in 10 years. Levy says she loves playing JMU for many reasons, but mainly because they're tough.
Yeah, and some of these numbers, we told you about 8 All-Americans, of course, with this team, but some of these just quantifiable numbers. 26 players returned, 17 from the 22 undefeated national championship squad that Cece alluded to. All 6 players who started all 21 games last year are back for the Tar Heels. Returned 78% of the goals, 83% of the assists, nearly 80% of their points, and 75% of their shots last year. There is a lot of offensive firepower, a lot of experience with this team. Even though down by 3 twice, you know they're still composed.
Looked like Epke was going to win that draw off of Horn, but Tar Heels still come up with it. Looks like Emily Knowles again taking advantage of a key moment and giving the Tar Heels the possession to start the second quarter here.
So that's 7 consecutive draws controlled by North Carolina, as the Dukes got the opening draw, but the last 7 have gone by way of the Tar Heels. And here's Modis working at the top. Leaves it off to Ungrelli with the 2 goals of the 3 for North Carolina. Alyssa Long, senior from Springfield, Pennsylvania. I came in today, I was right behind some Pennsylvania plates that had Tar Heel stickers on the back, so I knew where they were going.
Piercino does a nice job there riding her down the fan.
Out again it goes to Ingrilli. Dropping off to Alyssa Long. Long to the left wing. There's a cut and the goal. Beautiful cut. She got free inside there, did Wurzberger.
That was a definite breakdown on defense for the Dukes. Wurzberger made herself wide open there for a weak side. The slide comes across and the rotation does not come through for JMU's defense on time. Wurzberger, great flash and finish there.
So we are tied for the first time today, and it's a 3-0 run for North Carolina. And so Wurzberger has moved into a tie for 12th all-time on the Carolina points list, tying her with Kristen Taylor, who finished up in 2010. And Wurzberger also coming in number 4 in assists all-time for the Tar Heels, and that's saying something. So 7 consecutive draws. And Peterson will come up with this one, and a foul called against Carolina. So the Dukes snap that draw streak.
All-American Bella Peterson comes up with a much needed draw control for the Dukes there.
Get a whistle, and an offsides, I do believe, is the call, and that is a card now. So the green card is coming off. Will be Olivia Dirks. So she'll have to sit for 1 minute. This is a releasable penalty. Derry will go in for James Madison. So 13:25 to go here in the first half, and we see our first green card. So we went a long time, relatively speaking, Nora, without a card flashed.
We did. Hopefully that will continue.
Yeah,
we'll see. It's better for the flow, but good opportunity. Man up for the Dukes after a really fast start.
Out there for the Dukes, Maggie Clark, number 13, as there's a shot now. The ball loose on the floor. Bodies hit the floor and hit the turf, rather, and North Carolina comes away with it. Again, it is Knowles who scoops it up. This tells you just how good her hand-eye coordination is, as she is out there in the midfield scooping up those draw controls and picks that one out of the crowd.
You know, as the game continues to become more specialized, you can see how why Levy loves Knowles so much. She is good in all 3 parts of the field, in offense, defense, and in the midfield.
Libby Lawton got tangled up with Casey Knobloch and is called for the green card. So the Dukes have a couple of players up now for the next 19 seconds. So a 2-player advantage for 19 seconds on the second green card. And again, because that foul occurred the way that it did in the midfield, draws out the green. Clark, Knobloch, Peterson.
Jenny Levy has been really involved in leadership, not only as the U.S. coach for many, many years, up until I think that was just a couple years ago, but also just involved with the rules and the rules committee, and really making statements about how she feels things should move along, and express a little bit of frustration
she did,
about how some of the rules that have been changed are in the middle of the field, where she really feels some of those rules need to be in the attacking side of the field.
On the rebound, Knobloch collects it rather, and then puts it between the pipes as the Dukes break the 3-0 run for North Carolina.
The Dukes happy to have Casey Knobloch back. 4 goals and a goal and an assist. We used to call these trash goals. You grab your rebound, you practice this in practice, just throwing balls out and being at practice with Coach Shears. You're just tossing balls into the middle to see who can get them and finish.
So Knobloch missed all of last year because of an injury. A 3-time team captain. You go back to the 2022 campaign. She was first team All-CAA. And comes in with a ton of experience. All-state on one occasion through her career. Her dad, Casey, played football and baseball for the Delaware Blue Hens.
The Knobloch family is just famous in Morristown, New Jersey, one of the biggest hotbeds of girls lacrosse in the country. Just what they've done for young players coming through the Morristown, New Jersey area for generations. And so Casey grew up, a coach's kid, and certainly the Dukes are so glad that she chose to come back for her final year.
So Knobloch gets into the scoring column with 12:08 to go in this first half and gives James Madison the 5-4 advantage. Epke, and it's 2 draw controls in a row for James Madison after the Tar Heels had picked up 7 straight.
To reel back, but I think Maddie Epke has switched sides.
Comes Marchetti on the approach. She is sandwiched. The ball comes loose, and a foul is called by the official way back in the midfield.
Marchetti may have gotten a little bit lucky there. I thought that was a really nice double team by the Tar Heels. Marchetti looked like she was forced that a little bit. Great slide into that double team. Comes up with the call here for the 8-meter shot.
I think that one stick was a little high, maybe. That might have been what the call was about. So a free position. Haven't seen many of these, actually any of these so far. And here comes Marchetti, and she does score out of the free position.
Again, boy, I will remember Coach D. McDonough. Coach, I hope you're tuning in there and listening. Just change your level on your shot. And Marchetti does a really nice job with her stick starting high and finishing low here. Sticks high, snaps down low. Goalkeeper's weak side. That's a tough shot to save from that range. Marchetti textbook finish. Putting the Dukes up by 2 here. All right.
So it has been a game of runs thus far. The Dukes with the last 2. Marchetti with that goal. Her career high 4 came against UConn a couple of seasons ago.
Coach Clace mentioned that she felt with all the talent that the Tar Heels have that there was the potential that they could be a little bit weaker around the arc. And so we've seen JMU opened, winning the draw. The Tar Heels went on a run, and that potentially they were going to be better around the circle maybe than they were in the middle. Maddie Epke has changed some things up here with the way she's drawing against Horn and has won the last few.
Still have same trio in the midfield, and there's another 3 in a row for James Madison. Peterson has it. As she'll flip it over to Josie Pell, the sophomore from Catonsville, Maryland, out of Glen Elk High School, which spelled backwards is Glen Elk. On the right wing is, for the Dukes, Manella. Pell working on the left flank. Talk about also how well Peterson works off the ball. And that's probably an area that year in and year out she's made some big improvements on. And her size presents some problems with her height. Flipping out right side, Epke settles it back in. 40 seconds on the shot clock. Epke goes to work. Push to the outside, down to 30.
JMU's movement off ball has gotten a little bit stagnant.
Comes Morgan, that shot off this side panel. She wanted to put it down low, but needed a little further extension. Dukes do maintain possession.
We know we saw Caitlin Morgan score on that crease roll so many times last year. I just don't think she got around into a better central position early enough there.
There's a shot taken by Manella. Not a bad shot. She didn't put a lot of mustard on it. Moore was trying to angle it in, and ultimately ends up in Nicholas with possession. So the Dukes will go back defensively. The Tar Heels get back on the offensive attack.
Really good stop for the Tar Heels. Livy Lawton did a really nice job there inside the fan as that feed was coming in, as the shot clock was winding down. Just kept great body position and didn't give the Dukes any opportunity to get a last-second shot before the clock ran out.
Riley Casey, number 7 on the left flank, gives it back up to Modis. And a turnover, just a bad pass, unforced. Nicole Marshall will start play for James Madison. One of the 4 captains, it's Marshall, Isabella Peterson, Lizzie Piracino, and Casey Knobloch are the captains for the Dukes here in 24.
Courtney Quirk doing a nice job there, just forcing a poor pass that went out of bounds and helping to get that ball into the attacking zone on transition. Pace has slowed down a little bit out there, Kurt.
Yeah, it certainly has. More deliberate. Marchetti will come back in. Started on the right side with Peterson.
Saw Maggie Clark score some really important goals for the Dukes last year. It's good to see her back out there.
Clark ridden to the right by Alyssa Long.
A little bit of isolation here for the Dukes.
Getting low, what a shot that was. Kind of a scoop from low to high, that is. And a beautiful goal for Epke.
She's having a day already, Kurt. She does look just a step more confident than last year. Just a face dodge left to right. And as you said, just a beautiful riser there on that finish.
Well, North Carolina, after that goal, wants to take a timeout. So James Madison, by getting 3 consecutive draw controls, has helped the Dukes to spread back out to a 3-goal lead. We're going to step aside as the Carolina Tar Heels are going to talk things over right now. We'll be back with more from Centera Park on the campus of James Madison. It's NCAA Women's Lacrosse Top 5 action on ESPN+.
These kids are our future, and the more that we can support them and the more they know that they can achieve things in life, then hopefully the further they'll go.
The support we get from Centera Orthopedics is huge. They don't just wrap ankles and provide ice. You know, they really stress the importance of taking care of your body.
Centera Orthopedics and Sports Medicine athletic trainers help our local student athletes stay healthy and enjoy a healthy, active lifestyle.
Behind every team is a great community. Door Gorilla is proud to be the official garage door provider for JMU Athletics and proud to support their community. When you need a garage door, call 540-740-DOOR and show your support for JMU this season. Go Dukes!
Nestled in the heart of the Shenandoah Valley, Cross Keys Vineyards is all about experiences. The unique spaces, the exquisite views, the delicious bistro creations, and of course, the award-winning wine, all combined to create experiences you will never forget with those you love most. And when you bring home a bottle of wine from Cross Keys Vineyards, you bring part of that experience home with you. Come experience all that Cross Keys Vineyards has to offer you. Reservations available online at crosskeysvineyards.com.
Interesting to see on the timeouts how sometimes.
JMU Athletics would like to thank its Team Madison partners. They are Pepsi and Centera. We're at Centera Park. Kurt Dudley, Nora White, CeCe Evans with you on this rather pleasant February day. I mean, relatively speaking.
Pleasant for February. We know this could very much feel like we're standing on the open face of the Antarctica.
Yes,
so
yes.
when we remember all those days, then this feels very warmish.
I was telling the story to one of the students we're working with this year about how JMU played Richmond up on the field above us here. the grass field there, and the broadcaster who was doing her first broadcast with, we were literally, by the time we were on snow that was a block of ice by the time the game was done. It took us a while to thaw out after that one. But so there was during that timeout, Nora, you were noticing how the teams were taking the timeout. Tell the viewers what happened there.
Yeah, so I think things are becoming not only increasingly functional, but now with the rule changes and the man up in the situation, both coaches talked about that. But in the first timeout, both the Tar Heels and the Dukes had offense-defensive huddles where their offensive and defensive coaches were giving specific information. In the timeout that we just came out of, Kurt, the Dukes did that same thing again, but the Tar Heels were giving an all-team message coming in from their coaches about what they need to do. So we'll see how it goes. They've won the draw, and let's see how that talk went.
Yeah, the Dukes had won 3 consecutive draws after North Carolina had taken 7 in a row, so an infraction on that draw gives it to North Carolina. The Tar Heels find themselves down by 3 for the 3rd time in today's game. There's a nice little pass and a zip shot. Oh, my, and Grilly is on fire today as she is grilling the nets. That's 3 for her.
Yeah, and Levy was looking forward to seeing. She felt like that she had freshmen and then, sophomores, the freshmen last year that really grew up, that really had the potential to emerge today. And Grilly is absolutely taking advantage. You see there's a breakdown in the slide from the Dukes, and Grilly gets into that seam, receives off the top of her left shoulder, and absolutely rips the net on that one. Beautiful, beautiful finish by the freshman.
Well, she
was having a big day.
It must be a lacrosse family because she's got a couple of cousins that also played Division I lacrosse. Her cousin Katie played for Northwestern from 14 to 17, and Jessie played lacrosse at Sacred Heart earlier than that from 08 till 11.
Those Long Island girls.
That's right. Well, I had the pleasure of going up to the national championship on Long Island in 2018, and what a venue that was. I took a walk around during the other semifinal, and there were so many young girls there that were, interested in lacrosse. It was like a big party, basically, with all these youngsters, these teenagers, but they thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a great environment, and Long Island's a great place to have that tournament, particularly even in May. It's a great place to have it.
Yeah, I mean, Baltimore, sticks in the cribs when the kids are born,
yeah.
and Long Island isn't so far, removed, I think, from that same type of environment, just historically such great lacrosse.
Now, probably some of those teenagers at 2018 at that championship are playing in this game here today.
That's right.
No doubt. I would doubt that be any question for some of them.
And as we've been talking about, draw control is really the thing, the difference maker today. And you see the Tar Heels winning that draw control just one more time. It looked like Epke had taken the upper hand on a little switch she had made, and Tar Heels winning the last 2.
So Tar Heels with a 2-1 advantage, 8-4 at the moment on draws. And a shot is good as the Tar Heels have pulled it within 1 once again.
Whatever was said in that collective timeout, Kurt, was something to the extent of, you are one of the best programs in the country, show it, be confident. There's just a higher vibe, and every player on attack is showing some more confidence and courage in going to goal there, as you saw.
Yeah, going to goal was Alyssa Long, the senior from Springfield, Pennsylvania.
Really great lefty finish there by Long, but again, just showed a lot of conviction from the moment she caught that ball that, hey, this ball's going in the back of the net.
3rd-team All-American. And honorable mention, depending on which organization you want to speak of. Her brother Kyle, a Maryland lacrosse player, won the 22 national championship with the Terps. You find that a lot in this sport, certainly a lot of family ties. And generational ties. A lot of them are, grandpa played here, grandma played there. It's more grandpa than grandma right now. That'll probably will pick up in a couple of years.
I'll put it nicely. I think to being in the game is a bit of a culture. Once it's in your household, it's hard to shake it off.
Battle for it, and the Tar Heels will come up with yet another as Knowles comes up with that one.
The Tar Heels, switched from Horn was taking a few draws there, and Epke started to take the upper hand. Dirk's back in there and helping the Tar Heels secure yet another possession.
And Grilly with the hat trick gives it on up to Long, who scored the last goal. Here's Dirks.
She really wanted that ball there. the Dukes do a nice job with the slide, putting some pressure on the double team.
On the move, though, goes Modis. Has to back it out. Back out to Dirks. Dukes pinch in that defense. Tall pass is too tall, and another unforced turnover for North Carolina. Some of the things I'm sure that the coaching staff will talk about at halftime with the Tar Heels.
Looking to ride with the double team there, cause turnover. I'm not really quite sure Coach Linville is going to be too happy with the freshman mistake there by Blecky trying to run through the double team, which I'm sure she did very successfully most of her high school career. Not a great cause turnover for the Dukes that the Tar Heels capitalize on.
They do quickly as Wurzburger comes up with the goal as she moves up even further. She'll have it coming into today. She was 10 points away from 11th all-time on the chart. Wurzburger just smelling it out right there, no doubt about it.
Yeah, Humphrey and Wurzburger there on the double. Humphrey scoops that up and gets that to Wurzburger. You never want a goalkeeper that hasn't had too much game experience to have somebody running down their throat wide open. It was good finish by Wurzburger.
So 6:11 to go, and we're once again tied in this contest. James Madison has had three goal leads, but the Tar Heels, who have outshot the Dukes 12-9, shots on goal 9 apiece. But the draw control is a big difference. It's +6 for the Tar Heels.
Yep, and yet another combination in the middle here with Peterson against Horn. Bella Peterson's been a little bit quiet. I think quieter than her coaching staff would like to see her so far.
Valid point. And the draw 1. So 11-4 is the difference in draws for UNC.
Big players got to step up in big moments. That's a lot of a cliche, but the Dukes really need Peterson to take a little bit more control out here.
Well, you certainly, if you've got her out there, that's opportunity. If you don't get it to her, you don't get the opportunity.
She's got to demand it a little bit more. She has to demand it a little more.
Darcy Felter, a sophomore, number 11 now on the pitch. Inside, and another score. This one coming from the right corner, as putting it in is Modis. And the sophomore from Downingtown, Pennsylvania, has the goal. That is number 12 in her career.
Coach Linville over here talking to her defensive reserves on the side. The Tar Heels have found a hole in the rotation in the Duke zone and are getting off shots that are way easier than they would like Bowdoin to have to see.
And so the Tar Heels have taken the lead for the first time today. It's a 4-goal blitz for North Carolina. Wurzburger has her 3rd goal, as Sheehan and Grilly have been the leading scorers thus far for North Carolina. Long with the goal as well.
Tar Heels are feeling it right now, back staying with the team huddle. And the Dukes, again, just Linville really with her defensive unit out there, compelling her defense to make some adjustments and fix some of the secondary slides that have been too slow, that the Tar Heels have done a great job taking advantage of.
Epke has 3 goals for James Madison, 2 for Marchetti. Peterson 1, and Peterson does have a ground ball. And Knobloch with a goal and an assist. At halftime, we'll hear from James Madison head coach Shelley Clays. Get a little insight for the Dukes head coach in her 18th season at JMU. And her 23rd season overall. She coached at Hofstra for a while as the head coach there before coming back to her alma mater. Shelley coming in, that she's the 97 graduate of James Madison, 217 wins, 93 losses here at JMU, and you throw in her years at Hofstra, 267 and 128.
As a JMU, as an alumni, of this program, the alumni could not be any more proud of the job that Shelley Clace has done here at JMU. She exemplifies, all the things that we love about our program, grit and determination, and the Dukes are going to have to hone in here a little bit and sharpen up, because the Tar Heels are starting to play with more and more confidence.
You know, and Jenny Levy also talked about that, and she and Shelley have known each other for many years, and that's another reason she wants to play against Shelley's teams, because she knows that it's not going to be a soft game. She knows they're going to get a good challenge, regardless of what year it is.
Yeah, that's exactly it, Kurt. Levy was very clear that, you know, last year we talked to quite a few opposing head coaches that said we love to come to Harrisonburg to play the Dukes to see a really good zone in action. And that wasn't so much what Coach Levy, she just said it's going to be clean, but it is going to be a fight. And it's good for especially her young, still somewhat young team to be exposed to that. That's
an excellent job there by North Carolina to keep the pressure up before the ball was secured and ultimately coming up with the possession.
Yeah, Grace Ann Leonard from Shoreham, New York. Another New York kid out there grinding it out and getting the possession for the Tar Heels.
Under 5 minutes remaining here in the first half. North Carolina on top by the 1. Felter. And Grilly, who's played like an upperclassman today, has got the attention of James Madison, I'm sure. And here is another. They're getting right inside that, right atop the crease. They just keep probing right there, and Godine comes up with her second goal. It's been a lot of little short passes coming from the really an angled flank.
Yeah, it's the feed and finish that is killing the Dukes. As we look at the replay here, we'd like to see this is not what Linville would have liked to have seen. The first slide is coming. The second slide is too slow. They're not anticipating it. Tar Heels are beating them to the spot right in the middle of the 8-meter and just getting off percentage shots that really, when you talk about a goalkeeper who's starting her first game, she started out with some really good confidence in the defense, forcing some lower percentage shots. It is brutal mentally on a goalkeeper to have to face such high percentage shots.
That's 5 in a row for North Carolina. Yeah, when you're that close, you just end up in a one-on-one. You don't know where they. I mean, it's first of all, it's quick reaction. There's no funnel for you to work out of.
You're not closing much space down other than your body and your stick, which leaves just too many openings, as you said. And with a goalkeeper that doesn't have a lot of experience, it seems like she's quite. We saw Kat Buchanan get super charismatic last year for the Dukes and really take on huge leadership roles in key moments. Looked like Peterson had control of that for a minute.
And ultimately, the Dukes do come up with it. Marchetti will have it for JMU.
Crucial possession to have won for the Dukes.
Plenty of open space to pass it up to Epke. So no real risk on that pass for James Madison, as the Dukes had a cleared failure earlier that led to a quick goal.
Looks like Peterson is one out there getting the Dukes to slow it down for a moment, set something up.
Under 4 minutes to go here in the first.
I'd like to see some kind of isolation, getting the ball on the stick of whether that be Epke or Peterson, who've really come up big. But as we saw many times last year, players come off the bench. Players like Clark and scoring some big goals.
Caitlin Morgan.
Also haven't seen too much out of Caitlin Morgan yet today.
Yeah, and the Dukes want a little more offensive aggression. She's a very good passer from behind the crease, of course, but they want to get a little more offensive pop out of her. I just think she's an unselfish player, and sometimes those skilled players, talented players, you got to coax them into doing it.
Peterson coming up, you talk about just making an important play. That's not a goal for Peterson, which is what we're used to, but a very, very important cause turnover and grab one possession there.
There's a shot from Epke.
We talked there, you see a part of the Tar Heels defense that we haven't spoken much about yet today, but that is so important to their success. They don't do a lot of sliding, but they do this sort of, Coach Linville was describing it as this sort of cone squeeze where they get themselves, it looks like they're in shooting space from up here, but they really just position their bodies and their sticks in such a way that you can tell how crowded that looked. And Epke, took a shot that was not a high percentage shot.
Yeah, and that's the opposite of what's happening down at the other end of the field for North Carolina, or as far as JMU's defense is concerned.
Absolutely. Space is a little too big out there.
Approaching 2 minutes Tar Heels on a 5-0 run, looking for another right here. Dirks leaves it down, and there's a shot, and this time the Tar Heels have a player back as Bodine was at the back line. She'll corral it. 29 on the shot clock. Tough shot, and it's in the crease again, and another goal. This is Alyssa Long's second.
It looked like in that early part of possession that the Dukes were doing a better job compacting the space, getting to pressure, following the cutters, but again, the Tar Heels open things up on the backside. They're moving faster. They're being more aggressive. They're drawing more slides, and they continue to move the ball around. You can see there, most of the JMU defenders are on the right side, opening up enough space on the left side there for Alyssa Long to get around the crease.
You actually had two Dukes facing one another and just left up the backside, so just not filling the space appropriately. And for James Madison, 1:46 to go. You just got to ride this out, try to keep this score what it is. If you can get another goal, obviously that would help, but don't give up another. Get back into the locker room, regroup, and get yourself set for the last half of action.
It is a game of runs, as you've said a couple times so far today, Kurt. If they could get one back, two would obviously be amazing, and just get into the locker room and reset. What you're seeing now is Coach Levy's Tar Heel team, the young players who were not proven so much from last year are stepping up, and the Dukes on defense, the absence of Buchanan, Mady, and Durkin are really, their leadership is really showing itself to be an Achilles heel for the Dukes so far.
And that's experience.
It is.
That's what you're talking about, just that experience that they had. And they kind of came in with a little chip on their shoulder to begin with to that trio. Of course, Buchanan played behind Molly Doherty all that time and just waited her turn and did an excellent job for the Dukes last year. Here's a free position opportunity for James Madison. Epke just to the right as it looked like it was just deflected by Nicholas.
A little bit, her hands and stick got really squeezed tightly within her body, which is hard to generate accuracy or power. Well defended by the Tar Heels.
Dukes still maintain possession. Knobloch goes around the crease. Now we'll put it back out. We got a whistle. Unsure what the call was.
A turnover?
No, it looks like JMU's going to get a free position
for Maddie Epke here, right in the middle.
Didn't get an indication from the official as to what it was about. And Epke scores for James Madison.
Much needed goal for the Dukes. And again, Casey Knobloch kind of at the center of, while that wasn't obviously a direct assist on the free position shot, Knobloch gets back to X and gets some things going for the Dukes. She's been a really important factor so far today.
Well, it's been a great start for Epke offensively. As her career high coming in, she had 2 goals on 5 occasions last year. Last time it happened was against Maryland. But she has 4 goals on 7 shots today.
It's just such good placement when she gets inside there with her right or her left. That when you're 4 meters out and you pull that ball to the weak side, we've got a change in goal for the Dukes here. We've got Adanya Moyer in the game for the Dukes here just for the last minute or so. The Dukes coaching staff did mention that they won't hesitate. They've got 3 goalkeepers that have been in contention in the preseason. They felt Bodine really earned the respect of her team. I think this is more, not so much that Bodine is doing a poor job, but that maybe Moyer will give them a little bit of leadership and give the coaches some extra time to talk to Bodine on the sidelines.
Yeah, and so Moyer will come in, a 5'7" junior from Silver Spring, Maryland. And the Dukes win the draw, an important one there. Still 60 seconds to go in this half, so the Dukes have an opportunity to pull even closer.
There we go. Peterson on a great finish, switching from left to right from distance as she's falling. Comes up with a really, as we said, Kurt, 1 would have been great, 2 ideal. Maybe there's 3 in them.
Still got 53 seconds to go. Look at this one.
Dodges left to right. The slide doesn't come. A lot of great pressure there from the Tar Heels defender, but we see a little bit of the greatness there in Peterson that we know she has in her, that we've seen so many times, and much needed 2-goal run here for the Dukes.
Peterson, I don't think it's a mystery that Peterson's strength is her height. She's six foot tall, so she shoots over a lot. But a shot like that is really not something you see out of her very often. Dropping the head of the stick, waist high, and taking a slingshot approach. That could open up more scoring for her this year if she can get that. I know with her height, I think it's difficult to do.
That was my shot.
That was your shot? Yeah. There you go.
A little bit of sidearm, but I think that was really, that's a goal out of determination and necessity.
She's won a couple of draws. The battle, good job there again. Knowles has just been fantastic in the midfield on the draws.
Yeah, she has been, as I mentioned earlier, covering, just being an asset in all 3 parts of the field. Looked at like Maddie Epke was going to clean that up there for a second, and Knowles came scooting in.
Again with Moyer, first time that she'll get a little pressure here, and the Dukes will come up with it. Moyer scoops it up inside the crease.
Nice cause turnover there for the Dukes.
A lot of pressure, just a little token pressure there to try to burn up some of the seconds here. Does North Carolina provide? Up to 12, they have to hustle it on down. For the Dukes, Blinkley to Peterson. Peterson takes the shot, and it was deflected. No infraction. The Dukes will keep possession, and the clock will expire.
Not a bad transition. Really nice cause turnover there by the Dukes. Decent transition. They just needed a couple more seconds to try to give Peterson a slightly better opportunity on the shot there.
Well, both teams have had their moments in this first half of play. James Madison got out to the early start, 3-3-goal leads. And then North Carolina ripped off 6 in a row. The Dukes get a couple here late. The final minute and a half. And we've got a 1-goal ball game here.
We have got ourselves a game, as we suspected. Number 6 versus number 3. They are not taking this game lightly.
We'll be back with our halftime. We'll hear from head coach Shelley Clays and more here from Centera Park. You're watching nationally ranked women's lacrosse here on ESPN+.
Live sports.
Introducing the ultimate plant-powered mascara called Cleantopia. 300% extreme lush volume. Now in dramatic ultramarine black. Cleantopia mascara, ultramarine black. From CoverGirl.
When you're launching a new product with a tight deadline,
2 weeks?
Grammarly's tone suggestions can help motivate your team with a positive approach. Because you know we got work to do. Looking good, team. When it's time to pitch your product to clients, a more personable and friendly approach can help sell it. And look, they bought it all. With Grammarly, getting the tone just right makes a big impact on your team's success. Download at Grammarly.com today.
Captain Marvel. You ever come in here with good news?
Hold that thought.
The Marvels is now streaming only on Disney+.
Oh, Captain, my Captain.
Grab your family.
What's wrong with that cat?
And experience the fun at home.
Hi, Captain Marvel is in our house. 1, 2, 3, go.
Hold on for an action-packed ride.
You are not going on any space adventures.
The Marvels, rated PG-13, now streaming only on Disney+.
Welcome back to the JMU Sports Network halftime show. 2 quarters in, North Carolina leads James Madison 10-9. This James Madison squad lost a lot of experience and leadership on the defensive side this past offseason. Goalkeeper Kat Buchanan, all-conference defenders Rachel Mady and Marie Durkin, and this spring team welcomes back attacker Casey Knobloch from a season-ending injury. Our very own Corey Spector caught up with Coach Shelley Clays this week and asked her about her team's caption.
4 captains this year: Nicole Marshall, Lizzie Piracino, Isabella Peterson, Casey Knobloch. What makes them effective leaders for this team?
Well, I think they balance each other out. You know, we'll start on defense. You know, it's hard to let go the energy and the competitiveness that Rachel Mady possesses. And so sometimes you need 2 people to do what one did, and that's okay. Being honest with ourselves, creating expectations. You know, Lizzie Piracino is a student of the game. She really understands system play and knows how to expect more from her teammates. She's very serious, she's very dedicated, and she puts in the work not just at practice but also in the, on the computer with the video. And then Nikki Marshall, she's got that spirited, competitive energy that we got from Rachel Mady, and she knows how to get people going. It's contagious. She's really excitable, but she's also fiery. She understands standards as well, and if we're not getting it done, she's willing to be that direct communicator that we need to fuel the fire.
And then how about on the offensive end, those 2 captains?
I mean, the offensive end, you know, it's a little bit more experience. You know, Isabella's coming back as a captain from the past, and Casey Knobloch as well. You know, Casey Knobloch's coming back for her 6th season. Another athlete that has chosen to stay committed to JMU, not put themselves in the portal, and to be able to just soak up everything that she gets from this program, from these coaches, from these players. And that's something that we're really proud of here at JMU, that they want to do it our way, and they're willing to stay committed to the program till the end.
We'll be back with more halftime after this quick break.
Live sports.
Who says you can't get everything you want? Like going for bold without going broke. And staying true to your taste while staying on budget. Who says rising costs means lowering the bar? Settling? No need. Get the brands you want, the prices you want, whenever you want. TJ Maxx, where you can always afford to be you to the max.
You were made to act spontaneously. We were made to help plan accordingly.
Remember why you became a nurse? You wanted to help people. And girl, you're just getting started. You know what's next. Getting your graduate degree. That's how you can change this place for the better. For yourself, your patients, the whole community. You want to make change happen? Walden University is all about change. It's time.
Walden University, set a course for change.
The competition's never been better.
This is just spectacular.
The stars have never been brighter. That's our move. Women's college hoops on ESPN and ABC.
The Stanley Cup Final on ABC and ESPN+.
Welcome back to the JMU Sports Network halftime show. It's halftime here when North Carolina leads James Madison 10-9. Kurt and Nora will be back after this short break.
Hey, what's going on?
I switched to H&R Block this year and had one of their experts do my taxes for me. Kind of a big win.
Oh, yeah?
They have a refund advance loan, so I got money the day I filed. You could get up to $3,500. Pretty huge.
I don't think my guy offers that.
And it's interest-free.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. We gotta pick up some milk. Great seeing you.
You could get an interest-free refund advance loan up to $3,500 the day you file.
In the wilderness, human. Sauvage. Elixir. Dior.
You can make money the hard way as a bullfighter or a human cannonball, or save money the easy way with Xfinity Mobile. Existing customers can get a free line of our most popular unlimited plan for a year. Not only will you save hundreds, but you'll also be joining millions who have connected to America's most reliable 5G network. Sure is a lot safer than becoming a stuntman for money. Get a free line of unlimited intro for a year when you buy one unlimited line. Plus, get the new Samsung Galaxy S24 on us.
You know you need protein to fuel results, but it's not easy when you're drinking the same bland, chalky shake every day. Stop punishing yourself and get to GNC for the best protein in the game. Look at this epic selection. All the hottest brands, enhanced formulas, and flavors that'll keep you coming back for more. Scoop after scoop after scoop. So bust out of your protein rut and actually look forward to those shakes with unbeatable protein at unbeatable prices. Fuel your fitness with protein at GNC. Yeah.
It is halftime here at Centera Park in today's non-conference clash between number 3 North Carolina and number 6 James Madison. 17th all-time meeting between these programs. Kurt Dudley and Nora White, also CC Evans with you here from Centera Park. Supposed to get into the 60s here this afternoon. It's 61 says my watch, but it feels a little chillier right now because, well, we got a bit of a breeze kicking in now as well. Well, we talked, Nora, of course, the draw control's a big factor there for North Carolina to come back from a couple of 3-goal deficits. As you kind of make your notes on your stat sheet there, what stands out to you there, Nora?
Well, it's interesting. Sometimes data gives you information that could be skewed well or skewed poor. I think UNC's got 6 scorers, and while Ingrilli and Wurzberger are standouts, obviously, with their hat tricks, six goals scored by six different players is really speaks to, on the opposite side of that, Carolina had no free position shots. So I think JMU's key to success is they've got to tighten things up on defense. They've got to close the gaps and create better opportunities. Bodine started with 2 saves, and then after that, no saves. So I think for JMU, it's really defensively, along with the draw control that, is obviously key for both teams. JMU tightening things up on defense. Their offense and their shot percentages are high. I think we need to see Caitlin Morgan and Isabella Peterson stepping up.
Well, Epke had a very good first half of the Dukes with a career-high 4 goals. We got a couple of Victoria Heels with the hat tricks as well. And really making her presence known as a freshman. But now's the thing where, okay, we've played the first 30 minutes of chess here. You take a little time out, and what do these well-schooled, well-educated lacrosse minds do with each other, and Coach Clays and Coach Levy? How will they counter each other here over the next 30 minutes? We'll see how that plays out, of course.
Yeah, and Knobloch, while not having a goal and an assist, just when she is on the field and the ball comes through her stick, things are happening for the Dukes. So I'm excited for the second half here.
Second half about to get underway. Again, with North Carolina in control as far as the draws were concerned, that made a big difference. And North Carolina can look at some of its early draw possessions that didn't result ultimately in goals as maybe a lost opportunity, and still the ball free. And Epke, not quite yet.
Kind of has it.
And it's Marchetti eventually with it for James Madison. The draws 12-8. But there was one stretch there when it was 7-1. Peterson takes the shot, and it's an easy save, and a foul is called as Peterson hits the turf.
Again, we go Epke to Knobloch. Knobloch threads the needle there to a player that she knows going to come up with it, and Peterson draws the foul.
I see Olivia Mattis starting the second half for James Madison, number 10, the 5'10 redshirt junior from Lakeville, Minnesota.
Right, again, Knobloch threads the needle there as, Epke moves the ball to Knobloch. You can see that stick coming across.
Peterson takes it high underneath the top shelf, and we are tied at 10-10 as the Dukes had their another 3-goal run here. This time it's to tie it up.
Coach Shear, incredibly talented and very competitive coach, as we said, leading the offense for the Dukes. And she wants. I am very confident that at halftime she told Isabella Peterson that she needed to step up and really take a little bit more control out there on offense for the Dukes, and she went right for that ball, wanted that ball, and a great finish by Peterson to start things off.
Well, looking at the keepers this half, too. So the Dukes have gone back to Bowden in goal. Moyer played the last, 90 seconds or so in the cage. Only really had one challenge in there. Dukes created a turnover that ultimately resulted in a possession that resulted in a score. And then Betty Nelson appears to be in goal for North Carolina to start this second half out of Littleton, Colorado.
Dirks and Epke, familiar faces in for the draw here.
Foot race for it between the two draws.
Looks like Dirks was going to come up with that.
Well, nothing easy there, and Peterson comes up with it ultimately. Christy Morgan, the head coach of field hockey, should get over here watching a lot of that ground action.
Marchetti does a nice job securing the ball into the zone for the Dukes. Maggie Clark back out there to start.
And again, Mattis out there for James Madison as well. She's got it there below the crease. Caitlin Morgan, see how active Caitlin gets in this half. Clark from the right side. Cutting through goes Mattis. Mattis has some height to her as well, so she's got a tall stick to aim for. Sort of like the Twin Towers in there. Deary, of course, does that as well for JMU. Knobloch close. Took it off the noggin, it looks like, and Morgan comes up with it again. Here goes Peterson, double team. As they slide on through. Left side to Epke. Inside, working this. Oh, the ball just trickles on past Marchetti. Didn't get a lot to it, but it takes a bounce over the stick.
So you start the second half, and essentially Knobloch has the assist on both. Peterson's ends up being an 8-meter that she scores on, but again, Knobloch's vision, her IQ, threading the needle, not from X, but from the side, which is something that the JMU coaches mentioned. They're going to do some changed and interesting things with the X spot, and we saw Knobloch back there early. Epke spent so much time down there last year. See Morgan down at X and Knobloch coming from the corner of the fan and successfully feeding their back-to-back for the Dukes.
Well, Marchetti tumbling on down gets the goal. And Knobloch working in on the assist for James Madison. Marchetti last year, second team all-conference as well as all-state here in the Commonwealth. Putting up 56 shots on goal last year. Had a couple of hat tricks for the Dukes. 23 goals all for her last year in the 22 games she played. 21 of those were starts for Marchetti.
Horn pops into the middle to take the draw now against Epke, just switching things up, putting different players around the perimeter.
So the Dukes recapture the lead. They once had 7-6.
And a different kind of draw. It looked like Horn popped that ball straight up, and the Tar Heels come up with it.
There's been a little bit of rip to the open space and then run to the ball for a lot of the controls for North Carolina. This is Modis. He scored in the first half. A quick stick work below. Wurzberger peels back out. Can't help but think of Kelly Berger when I think of Wurzberger.
Oh, yeah. One of JMU's greats.
Behind the over-the-shoulder shot, no good. Deflected, but coming back out with it. Was that Humphrey? And a foul called against James Madison. Yes, it was Ashley Humphrey, who's 1 point from 200 coming into today's game.
Looking for that for behind-the-back JMU defense. Not on our watch. Not at least now. But Humphrey does get this ball back.
Feeds it up. Low shot and stopped by Bowden. Looked like it got into the lower part of her jersey. Got caught up in there. She has to drop it out real quickly into the midfield. Let's see if the Dukes can clear it here.
Carolina is trying to really force a ride, which they were successful with a couple times in the first half.
This time they do successfully clear, does James Madison.
Yeah, Clark did a nice job, just not getting too rattled by that, getting that ball into Mattis.
Dukes are 9 out of 11 on clears in the first half. The Tar Heels 6 out of 7. JMU has scored the last 4, bridging the 2 halves. Knobloch with Epke, both on that left side. Skips the pass. Mattis starts to move. Feet inside, and the shovel shot down low again for Peterson.
That just speaks to Peterson's bag of tricks. That, I'll tell you, I played U.S. lacrosse with a player, All-American from University of Maryland, Erin Brown, and she had that thing down to a science. You just don't see that shovel shot all that often. It didn't even look like Bella was looking at the goal there, yet she finds that lower right pocket.
So Bella Peterson gives the Dukes a 2-goal lead.
And a big difference you see from the first half to the second half is they're going to smother, the Tar Heels are going to smother Peterson and crowd her space. The player that she is, she can handle that and has shown that to happen so far in the second half, receiving the ball in lots of traffic and still making important things happen for the Dukes, scoring 2 goals.
Peterson, multiple records last year for the Dukes, 91 goals, a single season record, points 114, and her all-time goals 223 and points 275, and she gets to build on all of those this year.
That was interesting. It looked like Horn for the Tar Heels was directing her teammate to go over in the direction of where Bella Peterson was, that she wanted to draw it there. She did draw it there. I don't know if that's the right tactic over somebody that's 6 feet tall.
Yeah.
That's a hard one to win.
And the Dukes do come up with it. JMU with 19 shots. The Tar Heels have 18. And the Dukes with a 2-goal advantage. About 4 minutes into this second half of play.
Josie Pell out there for the Dukes now.
Pell from Catonsville, Maryland. Morgan tries to spin. Sends it over the top. Knobloch puts it in.
It is good things are happening when Casey Knobloch's involved in the play, on or off the ball. That was my favorite opposite post feed coming through, and Caitlin Morgan, you see she comes around from behind the crease to the right side. Casey Knobloch, it's hard for the defender to keep an eye on the ball, and the defender, as soon as the defender looks away, Knobloch gets to the opposite post. Morgan, perfect feed, wonderful finish. Real veteran move there by Knobloch.
Well, North Carolina had a 6-goal run, and James Madison has matched it. And once again, for the 4th time today, JMU has a 3-goal advantage. We'll step aside, timeout, called by North Carolina. It's a 3-goal. Oh, they're not going. Okay, beg your pardon. We're going to stay right here.
All right. Things are heating up.
They are. Okay, well, we'll just keep it right here then. As North Carolina does call the timeout. Now what we've got, as you said earlier, as we came back from that timeout in the first half, it's a group all together now, not just broken up into the units.
Yeah, UNC's got a few, the Tar Heels have a few players that are focusing, and then looks like Coach Levy is over there with, and also the other, Carolina's other assistant coach has also been really involved.
Let's see what JMU has done here. The last 3 scorers, you got Marchetti with a little off-speed goal that just goes over the net, the stick of Nelson, rather.
Such an experienced cut right there by Knobloch. Again, it's so hard for the defender to defend that player on the crease because they're looking over their right shoulder to try to see where Caitlin Morgan was with the ball. And the second Knobloch is experienced enough, the second the defender looks back behind the goal, she cuts opposite post. So well executed.
It's almost like Morgan and Knobloch are attached, you know, with the bungee, and they just, one pulls the other way, brings the defender out, and then opens up that space, which is filled by Knobloch, and she uses the lack of vision that is created out of that to push the goal in.
And excuse me out there, Coach Phil Barnes, Tar Heels assistant coach Phil Barnes, you see he has throughout been really involved in the timeouts and giving the players some information, which he did this last timeout. So we'll see how the Tar Heels respond to this run that the Dukes have made to start the second half.
Now JMU 20 shots, 16 on goal. For the Tar Heels, 18 shots, 13 of them on frame. And another draw control one. This is Epke running into the corner and gets around the two defenders. Nifty move.
You hear it from the stands. Ooh. As she splits the double, almost triple team there.
Caitlin Morgan. You know, and for Morgan, let's go back to her again. On that last play, just that little bit of activity that she does. She doesn't have to score all the time, but she has to be aggressive with the ball below to create some opportunities for her teammates.
And, you know, for me, I mentioned, you know, at the break, Morgan and Peterson needed to be more involved than they were in the first half. And you could just see it's not a ton of movement, but the extra movement that Morgan has had has created some positive actions for the Dukes on offense.
We'll skip pass over, one-on-one here, the isolation. Defender goes down and the ball goes in.
And before you blink, there's a hat trick for Isabella Peterson.
So the Dukes have the 4-goal advantage. Watch this here. We go to get a chance to see it again.
The double spin moves first by Epke to break the triple team, then by Peterson, back to her right hand and just pick the corner like can't do it any better than that.
Peterson has matched Epke as both have 4 goals this afternoon for the Dukes. And Peterson has a couple of 8-goal performances in her career. The last time she did that was last February against High Point. So she can certainly load it up. And she has the Dukes out in front by 4, 14-10. This is, last year it was a 14-9 final. So the offensive pace a little higher than what it was a year ago, quite obviously.
There haven't been, you said the Tar Heels went to a shift with a different goalkeeper. It's not been the start that they would have liked to have seen her. There just haven't been too many saves on the day. There's been some sharp shooting and some defenses trying to find their footing.
Only 3 saves combined. And you know, both teams have used a couple of keepers. Again to space they run.
Bodine and Dirks back at it. Excuse me.
And it is won by James Madison. Epke with the draw control. Peterson over to Knobloch. Casey backs out. Tell you one thing too, I'm kind of impressed about Casey is even though she missed all of last year, her patience has been good. I mean, her poise has been good in today's matchup as well. You know, after you've been out so long, you want to get you might get over your skis a little bit, so to speak.
She did a lot of coaching last year during the season, but I mean, she's a coach's kid, and that means her IQ is just incredibly high, and yeah, I mean, and her maturity. You know, she's had to wait a long time, but she's not a spring chicken anymore, so she's using that veteran experience to her advantage, no doubt about it.
Okay, looks like the Dukes are going to sub up here. What do they stop the play for? And there is a green card. Let's see if we can get it. I did not see what happened with that.
Gabby Hall, I'm not sure she's the byproduct of that infraction, but she's the one that's going to be sitting out there for the Tar Heels. The Dukes have Mattis and Derry both on the field for this attack.
Indeed, it is on Hall officially as they've put up 1 minute on this green card. A little maintenance on the goal there in front of the Tar Heels as Betty Nelson, again the freshman from Littleton, Colorado, plans to study psychology, is in the crease. Ranked number 4 in the class of 23 by Inside Lacrosse. Dukes playing. Had a couple of situations with James Madison, a player up.
The Dukes coaching staff thought they were going to see Nelson between the pipes. And as you mentioned, Kurt, the most highly touted goalkeeper coming out. I say goalkeeper, that's a little more soccer, I think. It's goalies, I think, more so in lacrosse. But
Peterson in the pack, and the Tar Heels come up with a turnover. Liv Peichel, a junior from Fair Hills, New Jersey, out of Ridge High School, playing in her 12th game as a Tar Heel.
Handling that transition on her own after that caused turnover. And I do want to comment, Kurt, with so many rule changes between years, it could really affect the way that the games are called from an officiating standpoint. And one thing that I just want to take my hat off, that I should have worn, you wore a hat, I didn't, to the officiating crew today, that they're really letting some physicality go. Maybe the Tar Heels bench wanted an offensive foul called on Peterson the last time around, and maybe the Dukes thought that there should have been a foul on that one. Both times I thought the officiating crew did a nice job letting the players play through it.
Again, it's going to take a little while to get into the season for the officials to kind of come up to speed, particularly on the rule changes. And good ride here is, there's the goal though, and a little flip over the top. And the Tar Heels have stopped a 6-0 run for James Madison. And that'll send us to a media timeout. But the Tar Heels, they add another to the board and trail it by 3, 14-11. North Carolina, they're waiting for the official word from the officials on the field to count the goal.
As the off-post feed worked for the Dukes a moment ago, that same opposite post feed reaps a really important goal there for the Tar Heels.
Ashley Humphrey with the goal. Back in a moment.
Live sports.
Is she?
Playing with the confidence of a pro and getting all up in that grass as if she doesn't have allergies. Yeah.
Nice.
Uh-oh. It's the Southeast Mini Golf Mixer Champ.
Do anything cool this weekend?
Mark.
Mark?
I just stayed in.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Cleveland or South Beach. Be the real you.
Hey, CoverGirls. Plant Power? It's a game changer. Introducing the ultimate plant-powered mascara called Cleantopia. 300% extreme lush volume. Now in dramatic ultramarine black. Cleantopia Mascara Ultramarine Black. From CoverGirl.
The Stanley Cup Final on ABC and ESPN+.
Exclusive articles and tools. Top leagues and tournaments. Best stories in sports. On ESPN+.
JMU Athletics would like to thank its Team Madison partners. And they once again include Pepsi and Centera. A good crowd on hand here today. Not to be surprised here at Centera Park. There's our friends from Pepsi and Centera.
It's got a little quieter, but yes, really nice crowd out here today. And still, we have to still say, for what it could be here in Harrisonburg in the Valley, it is still a reasonably mild day, comparatively speaking, to what we've seen in past years.
On Monday, somebody said it's going to be 65 on Saturday. I was like jumping for joy. That's outstanding, because this is the first outdoor event that we've produced here from the JMU Sports Network since back in the fall, of course, as we're in what we call in the business the crossover season, meaning basketball continues on and all these spring sports. In fact, JMU softball, a couple of wins yesterday to open up the season. Coach Lauren Laporte and company.
Got a new combination in here for the draw. Is that Lawton in there with Epke?
It is actually,
no,
it's Flynn Reed, a graduate student, a transfer from East Carolina. So she's familiar with the Dukes, East Carolina, in the American Athletic Conference with the Pirates.
Sorry, Kurt.
Yeah.
A hometown kid from East Chapel Hill High School in Chapel Hill, coming home to finish her career and win the draw for her team.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll continue to see. I think one more year we'll get a lot of graduate students still playing, but then those COVID years will be past and things will settle out a bit. And there's a takeaway turnover caused by Courtney Quirk, and the ground ball for the Londonderry, New Hampshire Brewster Academy product.
In Murray Durkin fashion.
That's right, that was.
I'm just going to take that ball from you.
So the Dukes, after giving up the goal, and that broke a 6-goal run for James Madison, creates the turnover and go back on the attack.
Maggie Clark calling the play for the Dukes.
And Peterson with a lot more touches here in this half as well.
Looking to isolate the two-man game here.
Sets up a little screen there. Here goes Clark. Shot is high. Back there for the Dukes, Olivia Mattis. Knobloch will scoop it on up quickly and start the play. Knobloch may find herself in a one-on-one. And taking the angled shot off the net, Morgan for the Dukes.
Trying to find the 9-hole there.
Here goes Peterson. Not quite. Will back it out. Uses Epke, who's now on the right side. So you got Knobloch here on the left. She'll come from behind the crease as they switch spots. The underneath shot is deflected. That's a dangerous shot, I think, called against Epke.
I think you're right. Really good defensive stop for the Tar Heels.
That's a yellow card as Epke will go off. So that means that the Tar Heels will have a player advantage for the next 2 minutes.
Coach Shear had a few words.
He did.
A few lesser than soothing words for Maddie Epke there. I didn't really like what she saw out of her choice in that moment. Gets a little high five from Dr. Bob, JMU's sports psychologist. Get her locked back in, and the Tar Heels come down on the attack.
Now Tar Heels with an excellent opportunity to close in on this gap. Wurzburger, here comes up opportunity, nice little spin move, and the shot looked like it was capped by one of the Duke's defenders. North Carolina maintains the possession, 60 seconds on the shot clock. You got a quick glimpse there at Epke. Epke in the penalty box in the naughty chair.
Yeah, that's right.
And a save, Bowden.
I'll tell you, JMU will take that all day long, and on the contrary, I'm not sure that the Tar Heels attacking coach is going to be super pleased with that shot, that lower percentage shot from a man-up perspective there.
Bowden coming out. I always think this is a dangerous situation. See the goalkeeper just trying to figure out where to clear, and a timeout is called by James Madison.
I'm not sure Coach Linville was loving her out in that position, but she did a good job holding off pressure. Bowden did until she got bailed out with the timeout.
Now the one thing that does, it chews up a little bit of that player down situation. The advantage remains at 53 seconds for North Carolina.
Yeah, Ashley Humphrey, who had some really positive actions in there in the first half, gets this ball in a pretty low percentage shot. She must have just thought she was going to scoot that. There wasn't even a lot of power there. Not super high percentage shot. I think the Tar Heels are going to want coaches are going to want their attacking players getting in a little bit of a higher percentage position on the field, especially in a man-up situation.
So Bowden has given up the 11 goals, 4 saves, so a percentage of .267. Like you said, there's not been a lot of saves thus far in this game. Now, last year for Bowden, she appeared in 4 games, of course, with Buchanan being the primary goalkeeper a year ago. Faced 7 shots and had a save percentage of 58%, did Bowden.
Yeah, what Linville said, Bowden started out the first half well. She's starting out the second half well. And they said, it really was a toss-up in the fall and in the preseason to the spring about which of the 3 goalkeepers were going to really emerge as the starter. And Coach Linville, the coach of the defense, just said she has an edge. She's very coachable. She's shown herself to be. She comes from a really successful high school environment and played in a really competitive summer ball environment. And that she just said, she's won the respect of the defensive unit, and she got that being the reason that she got the nod today.
22 remaining in the third.
You can always count on the JMU sideline to have, you see Savannah Derry down there getting the team pumped up and trying to stay warm, doing a little bit of dancing. The Tar Heel sideline's kind of all business over there.
Well, I think, yeah, you could have a contrast in bench styles,
That's
I guess.
right, that's right.
You know, JMU has always been pretty animated on the sidelines. Little takeaway, the double team. Here's the shot in the goal. The Dukes twice have turned it over at their own end, and twice the Tar Heels have capitalized.
Courtney Quirk turns the ball over, and the coaches are just looking around wondering why exactly Courtney Quirk decided to try to split the double instead of move the ball into the open space. You know, just a kind of second pour. We saw that by Bleckley in the first half. Just not a great choice, but to the Tar Heels' credit, they're not necessarily known as a team that really depends on their ride to create turnovers, but they've done that for the second time today in a really important moment as we start to get towards the tail end of the third quarter.
That's Grace Ann Leonard, a freshman from Shoreham, New York. And with that, she has her first goal today. So freshmen have played a big part for North Carolina this afternoon. And Grilly has been quiet here the second half, but she made a lot of noise in the first.
I was just thinking that. But another freshman steps up in an important moment for the Tar Heels.
A lot of the possession has been JMU on the attack here in this second half also. So not many opportunities. Epke, who was in the penalty box, is back out on the pitch for the Dukes and comes up with another draw control for James Madison.
Yeah, they had Flynn Reed back in there again, number 44, trying to shake things up on the draw. And Epke comes up with the possession for the Dukes.
Epke 4 goals. I believe that's 6 draw controls for her now. Peterson has 5 for James Madison. Long with 3, and Knowles has 5 for North Carolina.
Yeah, Epke not playing like just a second-year player for the Dukes today, just showing so much poise and leadership.
Peterson whips one, and it's plucked out of the air. Looked like that was going to the back line, but nope, it's taken away by one of the defenders. And let's give Adair Martin credit, the junior from Stevenson, Maryland. Went to the Bryn Mawr School.
That was like super well-known school there up in the Baltimore area. So many good lacrosse schools up that way, but that looked more like a save than an interception.
It did,
that
yeah.
was really great play there by Martin.
Once again, the Tar Heels with an opportunity to close in even closer. Is Felter.
Looked like Felter had a lot of space there for a minute, but patient.
So, Nora, what are you seeing defensively that's a little better for James Madison? I say that as North Carolina puts one in the back of the net, but it has been, let me go back. I was just saying how JMU is possession. I guess possession has been one of the favorable things for JMU in the second half, but the Tar Heels get back closer. It's a 2-goal game.
Again, once you challenge the crease and the slide comes, that 2-man game opens up, which is exactly what happened there. The slide comes down maybe a little bit early, and it opens up that spot there on the corner of the fan. That just well-executed finish by the Tar Heels.
Alyssa Long celebrates once again today. Alyssa's mom, Kathy, played field hockey at Old Dominion, which if you played at Old Dominion at about that time, there's a good chance you won a national championship. They did.
At least one.
That's right.
I mean, I don't know exactly how many she won there, but yeah, that just during that time where women's sports were so dominant at Old Dominion. But Long having a really strong, you say quiet almost, but she really has, Long is having a wonderful day for the Tar Heels.
But you need some contributions by those type to kind of connect the dots in many regards.
And there, Flynn Reed did a nice job grabbing that ground ball for the Tar Heels to give them yet another possession and a chance to tie it up.
Again, the seesaw of runs has been one of the storylines of this contest as well. Right now, the Mo in favor of the Carolina Blue.
Yeah, they're looking confident on attack. The slides are coming. Look like there was a double team there for the Dukes, but just that gets squirted by Bowdoin in the goal there.
And
Tar Heels tied up.
Again, yes. Darcy Felter. JMU has overcome a 3-goal deficit, and UNC has overcome a 4-goal deficit, and we're tied at 14 apiece.
Tar Heels are finding a lot of different ways to score goals, and Bowdoin really got caught going back on her heels, which is not the way you want to try to make a save. Obviously, you want to maintain balance and good posture, and just got caught a little bit off guard there.
Felter, one of those legacy players, if you want to call it that. Her dad, a former Tar Heel, and he won a national championship in '91.
Coach Levy found something that she likes here with Reed back in the center circle, taking the draw against Epke.
Well, the last 140 or so for the Dukes in the second quarter proved pretty important.
And maybe it's the height thing.
That could be it, as that time it is controlled by Reed. Reed stands in at 5'10".
Be very interesting to see if the Dukes switch to Isabella Peterson against Reed on the next draw.
90 seconds to go. Shot clock is in effect.
Tar Heels are looking to have a lot of confidence on attack right now, finding the holes in the JMU defense on this run.
Wurzberger up close, knocked down. That was Piracino that came up with the cause turnover for the Dukes, and give credit to Lizzie for that one of the Dukes captains. So under a minute to go here in the third.
And we have had the game that we hoped we would have so far. For those of you out there watching, hope you're enjoying two top-ranked teams really going at it. Just when you think somebody might have a chance to open it up a little bit, the gap gets closed. I think both coaches want to win this game, obviously, but are really getting the environment that they wanted to have their team, you know, see what they really had as the games and the season continues.
This is a tested game. And this is also, you know, both these teams ended in the quarterfinals. This is sort of like a quarterfinal round game when you think about it, although be it the first game of the season. And 9 seconds, there goes Peterson, ball deflected out. Mattis picks it up for James Madison.
Great ground ball for Mattis.
And the horn will sound. That expires the third quarter of play.
Good stop defensively for the Tar Heels to end that third quarter. Really good pressure. They brought the slides to Peterson from both sides to slow her down there and prevent her having the opportunity to get a really high quality shot.
Well, JMU won the period 5-4, but we're tied at 14-all going to the final quarter here. And there is a history of overtimes as well, but we've got 15 more at least to play here. Here's the tying goal for you. North Carolina 14, James Madison 14. Nationally ranked lacrosse here on ESPN+.
Live sports.
It's the Southeast Mini Golf Mixer Champs.
Do anything cool this weekend?
Mark.
I just stayed in.
That's cool. Yeah.
Cleveland or South Beach. Be the real you.
Who says you can't go for bold without going broke? Get the brands you want, the prices you want, whenever you want. TJ Maxx, where you can always afford to be you to the max.
The most passion, the most intensity. This is the way basketball's supposed to be.
Peterson has been a household name for Dukes fans since she led her team in scoring her freshman year. The senior attacker has since led JMU in scoring every season of her 4-year career. Her 91-point college career high last season propelled Peterson into the JMU record books for most goals all time and most points all time. She returns this season as a preseason All-American, the AAC preseason Attack Player of the Year, and is very hungry for more. Head coach Shelly Clay said she's excited to welcome Isabella back for a 5th year to see how she influences the people around her and for her to prove that you can get better even when you're already at the top.
Yeah, but last year she was JMU's 4th Tewaaraton Award finalist, but she is the first to be returning after getting that high accolade. She was ranked nationally in 8 statistical categories, including second in goals, points, and points per game in the NCAA. So certainly to have her for a 5th season bodes well.
We talked a lot last season about players, sort of the unsung heroes or the players that fly under the radar or that do impactful things, and there were players that did that for JMU last year. Today, there is no one stepping up any bigger than Flynn Reed. In a moment, she has just either won the draw or won ground balls off the draw in several of the last possessions to really help level things up for the Tar Heels.
You know, the first possession of the 4th quarter, pretty important, sort of like coming out of the 3rd quarter in football. You know, what do you do with that possession? And North Carolina has it, and looks like a free position will get awarded to the Tar Heels.
List along here, yeah. JMU caught a little bit out of position trying to get pressure to the ball. Last time the Tar Heels were in this position, they passed the ball into the middle and got a goal. We'll see if Long takes it herself with the space she's got.
Plenty of space, approaches, and it's deflected.
Looked like Bowden got a really important save there.
Now the Dukes with a transition opportunity. Streaking through the midfield. I always think of Amanda Williams. Always used to race through the midfield for the Dukes. Here's inside to Peterson. Double team, backs it back out as Caitlin Morgan got it to her.
Triple teamed, I think. Looked like there was going to be an opening there. Caitlin Morgan finds her, but the Tar Heels getting numbers to Peterson. I remember Coach Levy said, you know, do you play Peterson to where you let her get her 8 and still win the game, or do you focus on Peterson and force other players to step up?
And Morgan out of Georgia in her senior year for the Dukes. Up, and that pass will get away out of bounds. An unforced turnover for the Dukes. Maggie Clark couldn't get the low pass.
Yeah, that was not, I don't think, the pass that Caitlin Morgan wanted to play. That was a little tough to handle, but did not get blocked down by Clark.
Godine with it from Owings Mills, Maryland. Went to McDonough School.
McDonough School where, ironically enough, Kate Levy, Jenny Levy's, Coach Levy's youngest child, is finishing out her career before she becomes the 3rd of 3 Levys to become Tar Heels. I said, what are you more proud of, all the success you've had as a coach at UNC, or that all 3 of your children became or are becoming Tar Heels?
I think she was pretty pleased by the fact that they have 3 Tar Heels, and the Tar Heels have taken the lead 15-14 as Alyssa Long drops another one in. It was interesting as she was talking about how each of her children decided to go, and I think the only one she counted off the list was Stanford, which I found pretty interesting. You're not going to the West Coast. There's a nice little shot again for Long.
Yeah, no, that was actually Ashley Humphrey. The 8 and
18,
the 10.
yeah, 18,
the 10 and the 8 look very similar out there, but Ashley Humphrey coming around the crease there to finish kind of unpressured. like Bowden to try to take that angle away, but Jamie also needs to try to get that slide coming down from around the opposite side of the crease. Good finish for Humphrey, putting the Tar Heels up here with 12:20 left in this fourth quarter. Continuing to go with Epke on the draw against Flynn, regardless of the height disadvantage. We'll see how this plays out.
Stack them on the near side.
And the Tar Heel fans are starting to emerge their voice so we can hear them down there with that good old Tar Heel chant that we all know.
And Knowles with one out of the air. Big possession for North Carolina with a 1-goal advantage.
Draw controls showing to be such an important piece, as it always is in this game. Tar Heels making a run of 1 draw controls here.
17-14, +3 for the Heels on the DCs. And we have a foul. Here comes a card. And it's a green against the Dukes. And it looks like it's going to go against Alex Piracino. So a 1-minute green card. And that means that the Heels, wait a minute, what did they do here?
Not really sure.
It appears it wasn't Piracino. She came off. No, it is actually on the Tar Heels. Beg your pardon, it's Amelia Sheehan. Yeah, so Sheehan is the one with the green card. So it was apparently they had more than one extra player on the field at that time, I'm told. Now they're counting bodies.
Coach Levy talked about really minimizing unforced turnovers. She said that on more than a few occasions when we spoke with her, Kurt, and it looked like this is an unforced turnover that at a opportune time for the Dukes, inopportune time for the Tar Heels. Not sure what they're still sorting out here, but.
Well, that was another thing as they were going through some of the scrimmages here. You know, JMU had Penn State here last week, and there were a lot of green cards there, and there was a lot of confusion as to who was supposed to be on the field. So they have to sort that out a bit on occasion.
Bleckley splitting the double there to get the ball into the zone, the attacking zone for the Dukes.
Epke inside. Derry delivers.
Derry with a great, that was well executed man up for the Dukes there, moving the ball quickly around the fan, waiting for the right seam to open up. And we saw Derry do that on more than a few occasions last year, come in at key moments, moves from down to Knobloch, back to Epke, and Derry just puts herself in a great position, uses her height to her advantage there. As we know, she's another one of the Dukes' tall players with a great finish to tie things up for the Dukes.
Yeah, she is from Roanoke, Virginia, Patrick Henry High School. Not really one of your hotbeds for lacrosse in the Commonwealth of Virginia, but she comes in, has the height. They find her maybe a little bit of and this I say with all due respect, a little bit of a project, a development player, but they have found a secret weapon in some regards and use her at very critical times. And as you said, that was her story all last year.
Fantastic basketball player. Roanoke is more well known for its basketball than it is for its lacrosse. She was a really, really good high school and AAU basketball player who chose lacrosse. And last year, again, we called some games where she had a few big games last year, and I know that the coaching staff is hoping they'll see more of that this year.
Draw again, it's Knowles as she continues to provide possessions for North Carolina. $11 minutes remaining. And we're going to get a foul.
We are.
And that's on Epke.
A little bit of a cross check there. Oh, Coach Shear's coming over to explain to Maddie Epke what a cross check is as she puts her timeout in the box, giving the Tar Heels a man-up advantage here for a minute.
You know, this is almost, it's sort of like, Epke, if you foul, you're going to have to face me. So don't foul, okay? I mean, it's a little psychology there. The foul's not as bad as trying to face Coach Shear.
What is the Spider-Man quote with great expectation comes great responsibility? I'm not getting it quite right, but Coach Shear, you know, is clearly a player. We saw that last year as a freshman. She gave her a lot of responsibility down at X last year, and there's just a tremendous upside for Epke. As we said, she had a great U.S. lacrosse, a great season of events with them, and you know, Coach Shear's letting her know, hey, we need you out there, and we can't afford for you to be making these mistakes. With great power comes great responsibility. Thanks to our backup staff for getting me straight.
There you go. Oh, and there's a good responsible stop, and it stays inside the crease. Bowden. Also there, Nicole Marshall defensively for James Madison to help keep that under control. And we get a foul, a cross check, and so that will even things up a bit. Epke actually is released. Well, it looks like she still has 1 second to go.
Modest found herself to be pretty available in there in the fan. Bowden, as we talked about, there haven't been a ton of saves today, Kurt, and Bowden comes up with a really important save for the Dukes.
Now, this is a concern here because it looked like there's still 1 second on the scoreboard here. Now, whether that is truly official is a question. Because Epke went back out onto the field, and she's coming off now.
Okay. Back again. The officiating crew's calling, just complimenting them on what a great and smooth game that they have been calling. We've had a few hiccups here, getting things straight.
Well, this is where the competitive juices really get a-flowing, because you're looking at this 15-15 score, and so you're going to push things just a little bit on the envelope. Now, I'm curious how this will be ruled.
Back to Bowden's big save against Modis a minute ago. One of the things that Coach Linville said about her, aside from just that she's really emerged as the goalkeeper that the unit trusts, is she will save the ball by any means necessary. I think she caught one with her shoulder there on that save, and that doesn't affect her. She'll save the ball with any part of her body that she can. If she gets beat up and bruised because of it, so be it.
So into the cross it goes. Here's Morgan. Knobloch from behind. Peterson.
Carolina sliding again, making it hard for Peterson to believe she could get through there. Keeps the ball moving for the Dukes.
This is Pell. Need a little bit more dodging for James Madison. And we get a call. We may have a shooting space. We do.
The Tar Heels are known for, and the JMU coaching staff made mention of that, just how they just have the sliding down to an art. You just haven't seen too many of these calls today, but man up, there's more space to cover, and it's harder to get into the right spot at the right time, giving the Dukes an opportunity here.
Epke finishes. Dukes retake the lead as the home team has the 16-15 advantage. One other rule, too, that comes into effect this year, and this is kind of a minor thing, but they're being very particular that everybody, all toes have to be behind that 8 meter in starting these free positions this year. There's no towing the line. You got to be behind.
Yeah, one of the things that is, you know, Isabella Peterson as a taller player, needs a little bit more space to get her stick work, execute to get the ball in the right position. One of the most amazing things I see about Maddie Epke is she needs almost no space outside of her shoulders. Her stick is in tight, it's tucked in, and she still manages to find a way to get such great, there's not a tremendous amount of power on her shots, but the placement is so in such a good spot, so accurate, and we've seen her just having such a wonderful day today.
Well, she has precision. It's almost like she's choking up on the bat.
Yes, yes.
With that precision.
Good analogy. Not like a player who can lay down a really well executed bunt.
Speaking of bunting and baseball, how about softball? Jamie Dukes up on Ball State 2-0. They beat the Cardinals yesterday 6-1 and beat Jacksonville 5-1. Kirsten Fleet, I'm going to throw that name out at you. She's a freshman pitcher that we're going to hear a lot about this year at James Madison.
It's been a little bit getting after back-to-back All-American pitchers for softball during that incredible run of time. It's been a minute since we've had that dominance on the mound.
Yeah,
the Dukes have.
Ford and then Good and then Alexander, that trio.
Freshman Betty Nelson coming up with that big save that she's so well known for in her high school and schoolgirl career. Important save for the Tar Heels there for Betty Nelson. Between the pipes.
Gives the Tar Heels a chance to knot it up once again. Well, we've seen some runs in this game. Now it might be a run of back and forths.
Knowing the greatness that both of these programs have in them, it would not surprise me.
Not at all. Nice little move, getting close. Shot deflected away.
Quite a collision in there.
Yes, a flag comes, or a penalty is coming up here. Let's see what it will be. Coach Levy out on the pitch. She's got her hat in hand. My guess is it's against James Madison, but that's only a guess. Oh, yes. Oh, no doubt.
The thing about it, though, that I was mentioning, if we remember the days with the Dukes with, players like Mady and Durkin, and Jamie was a really physical defense last year. Clean but physical, and I thought it was a little bit too loose for the Dukes in the first half. They just giving up too much space. And so even though you see that the foul in this regard ends up panning out, the physicality was positive there, and the Dukes are able to turn the Tar Heels away for the moment.
And that's a fine line too. As this ball comes loose, Peterson, even with her 6-foot frame, couldn't lean over to get it before otherwise falling into the pond.
I'm impressed she was able to stop herself before she fell in there. I thought she was going to surely overflow.
Pass to nobody, and James Madison comes out with it. Maggie Clark will sprint on through, and it's a clear for JMU.
Big cause turnover for the Dukes there.
I was going to say the fine line, because with Durkin and Mady, there was there was an attitude about them, that toughness that kind of goes with what Coach Clay's recruits. And sometimes it takes a little while to get to that level and understand how physical you can be within the rules of the game. And you're towing the line a lot of times.
Coach Linville was kind of laughing. She's like, that is not the way they looked when they were freshmen and sophomores. It took a while.
Here's Clark on the move, isolates on the right side, can't get a shot off. Well, maybe. Nope, she's going to take it deeper. Thought she's going to cut in, but good defense there to avoid it.
This has been a dangerous position for Knobloch from the wing.
Been a while since Casey's gotten off a shot. Gives it up to Peterson.
Really
Peterson reverses.
Well defended by the Tar Heels.
Shot clock down to 13.
Two-man game here in the corner.
Oh, here comes Epke. She got free.
What a game she's having.
That makes it a 2-goal difference with 5:39 to go. The sun comes out, and the Dukes go up by 2.
Talk about
Epke.
Maddie Epke playing with a ton. The two-man game on the wing creates a little extra space. She slips underneath the double team, keeps that stick hidden like she's been doing so well, pulls it out for a great right-handed finish.